The doors of the Oak Ridge Police Department flew open with a thunderous crash. A German shepherd, battered and bleeding, staggered inside. Strapped to his back with torn fabric was the limp body of a little girl. Don't forget to tell us where you are watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. Okay, let me take you guys backwards. Because this story didn't start in that police station. It started 3 years earlier, in a quiet animal shelter. Emma Mitchell was only 5 then, a small girl carrying grief far heavier than her years. She walked past every puppy and lapdog without a glance, until she reached the last kennel. Inside lay a scarred German shepherd, silent and solemn, with a torn ear and eyes that seemed older than time. "This one," Emma whispered, pressing her hand against the bars. "His eyes are sad like mine." Her father, Jack Mitchell, wanted nothing to do with the dog. A former Marine turned construction worker, Jack had been drowning in grief ever since his wife was murdered. Whiskey bottles cluttered the house, and silence filled every corner. The shepherd was a reminder of what he'd lost, because once, long ago, that dog had been Sarah's. He had fought to protect her on the night she died and failed. Jack never forgave him for surviving, but Emma refused to leave without him. So Hunter came home. From that moment, Emma and the dog were inseparable. She whispered bedtime secrets into his fur, brushed the dust from his coat, and held him when nightmares tore through her sleep. He was her shadow, her protector, her only constant in a world that felt unsafe. Then came the Tuesday morning when everything changed. Jack dropped Emma at school with his usual rushed promise, "See you at 3. Hunter sat in the truck, ears perked, eyes locked on her until she disappeared inside. But when Jack returned that afternoon, Emma was gone. The school staff insisted she'd been picked up for a family emergency. Jack's blood ran cold. No one else was supposed to take her. By nightfall, search teams were combing the woods. The FBI was called in. And Hunter? He barked, paced, pulled at his leash, desperate to drag Jack toward the trees behind the school. But no one listened. Jack locked him in the laundry room that night, trying to drown out the howls that echoed through the neighborhood. And that was their mistake. By midnight, the search had turned frantic. Every mile of woods, every creek bed, every abandoned cabin, cleared. And still, no Emma. Sheriff Cooper was barking orders, deputies stomping through the mud with flashlights, but the trail was already going cold. Back at the Mitchell home, Jack sat slumped in his kitchen, rain dripping from his coat. A bottle of whiskey shattered on the floor. His head hung heavy, the leash dangling uselessly from his hand. And from the laundry room came that unrelenting sound. Hunter howling, claws raking at the door like he was trying to tear the house down. When Jack finally opened it, the dog didn't run to food or water. He bolted straight for the study, Sarah's office. A room Jack hadn't touched since the night she died. Hunter clawed at the door, whining, pawing, refusing to be ignored. "What is wrong with you?" Jack snapped, shoving him back. But those amber eyes never wavered. Not anger, not fear, just something colder, disappointment. And then the phone rang. Agent Reynolds. Her voice cut through the static. "We found her backpack, Miller's Creek. There are signs of a struggle." Jack's blood froze. When he turned, the front door was swinging open. Hunter was gone. By dawn, the German shepherd had already covered 15 miles on torn paws. He crossed swollen creeks, forced through thorn-choked hills, following scents no one else could trace. His nose led him past familiar trails and into the place locals called Devil's Backbone. Old caves, forgotten mine shafts. The kind of place people whispered about but never entered. That's where he found it. A hidden bunker, camouflaged beneath branches and rotting logs. Inside, behind a heavy steel door, came the faintest sound. Emma's voice. "Hunter," she whispered through the gap at the bottom. Her tiny fingers pushed through, trembling, filthy. "I knew you'd find me." The shepherd pressed his muzzle to the concrete, whining low. She told him everything in broken whispers. The man who smelled like the one who hurt her mom, the plan to move her before sunrise. And then Hunter did the unthinkable. He slipped into the darkness, crawling through a ventilation shaft barely wide enough for his body. Somewhere down the hall, a guard muttered, "Blackwood wants her gone by midnight." Hunter's ears flattened, his lips curled. Because midnight was almost here. The guard's footsteps echoed down the corridor. He shoved the door open with a smirk. "Dinner time, princess." He never saw the shadow move. Hunter exploded from the corner, jaws locking on his arm. The tray clattered to the floor, food scattering like coins. The man screamed, trying to draw his pistol, but Hunter was relentless. "Go!" Emma cried, slipping past them, barefoot and shaking. She tore through the hallways until she found the storage room, a small window high on the wall. Hunter planted himself beneath it, bracing like a step stool. Emma scrambled onto his back, fingers fumbling at the latch. It creaked open. Cold air rushed in. She wriggled out, landing in the tall grass. "Come on, Hunter," she begged. But the opening was too narrow for his frame. He barked once, low and urgent, before turning back toward the shouts thundering down the corridor. He was going to hold them off. Emma stumbled through the trees, sobbing with relief when a familiar voice called her name. "Emma." She spun and froze. Dr. Sarah Andrews, Oak Ridge's trusted veterinarian, stood at the tree line, white coat damp from rain, vet bag slung over her shoulder. "Dr. Andrews?" Emma whispered, running toward her. "Hunter found me. He's still inside. They're going to hurt him." Andrews crouched, voice soothing. "It's okay, sweetheart. You're safe now. Let me check you." She reached into her bag, smiling too wide. That's when Emma smelled it. Sharp, chemical, the cologne. The same one that haunted her dreams, the same one the man wore the night her mother died. Emma froze. Her voice shook. "You smell like him." The smile vanished. Andrews's eyes went cold. Her hand closed around something in the bag, a syringe glinting under the moonlight. Before she could strike, headlights flooded the clearing. Jack Mitchell burst through the rain, gun in hand, Agent Reynolds right behind him. "Emma!" Jack's voice cracked as Emma ran into his arms, but Andrews was already moving. The syringe arced upward until a dark shape tore from the shadows. Hunter. Bloodied, limping, but unstoppable. He slammed into her chest, sending the needle spinning into the mud. And in that instant, everything changed. Sirens split the night. Agents swarmed. The bunker erupted. Guards were dragged out in chains. The trafficking ring was shattered. But Thomas Blackwood, the man whose cologne still lingered in Emma's memory, wasn't there. He had slipped away. And Hunter? He lay trembling in the grass, Emma's tiny hands pressed to his blood-matted fur. "Don't leave me," she whispered. At Oak Ridge Memorial, Hunter clung to life under a web of bandages. Jack sat at his bedside, guilt etched deep. Emma's small voice broke the silence. "Daddy." He knew. Hunter always knew who hurt Mom. Jack froze. Emma whispered, "The man who took me, he smelled like the man in our house that night. The same cologne. The same as Dr. Andrews." Before Jack could answer, Agent Reynolds entered, holding Hunter's collar. "Something's hidden inside." A tech sliced it open, revealing a micro SD card. On it, Sarah Mitchell's voice. "If you're hearing this, I didn't make it. Blackwood is behind everything. I've hidden more proof where only Hunter can reach. Trust him." The pond. Sarah used to train Hunter there, hiding objects underwater and calling it treasure. Jack's voice shook as he whispered, "Find the treasure, boy." Despite his wounds, Hunter dove into the murky pond. Once, twice, again. Each time, he surfaced with another waterproof case. By the fifth, his legs buckled, but he staggered ashore, collapsing at Jack's feet. Inside the cases, photos, ledgers, voice recordings, everything, enough to burn Blackwood's empire to the ground. But Blackwood wasn't done. He sent a message to Jack, a trade. "Meet me alone. Bring the files, or your daughter isn't safe." The FBI staged an ambush, but the danger was real. At the abandoned barn, Blackwood stood waiting, calm as ever. "You look tired, Jack." "Tired men make mistakes." Jack raised the briefcase. "It's over, Blackwood." The man laughed, pulling a hidden pistol. For a heartbeat, time froze. Then a growl split the silence. From the shadows, Hunter lunged, slamming into Blackwood's arm. The shot went wild. Red laser dots lit his chest. "FBI!" Reynolds's voice thundered. Agents poured in. Blackwood was dragged to the ground, wrists zip-tied, his rein finally broken. Not by power, but by a scarred old shepherd who refused to quit. Days later, in the quiet of the hospital garden, Emma knelt beside Hunter, stroking his ear. "You brought me home. You made Daddy believe again. Mom would be proud." Jack unfolded Sarah's final letter. "Trust Hunter. Even when you can't trust yourself, he'll bring her back." Tears blurred his eyes as he looked at the dog who had saved them all. "You didn't just find treasure, boy. You are the treasure." Hunter's tail thumped once against the ground. If this story touched you, share it. Let people know the power of loyalty, of courage, and of the animals who never give up on us. Subscribe for more stories of heroes with 4 paws and hearts of gold.